For whatever reason, I wasn't thinking, I was like, oh, it'll be fine. It's a decent time of year. And I completely forgot, sleeves, jackets, sweats. I just didn't think, I got a little too cocky, I guess, and thought I knew it would be good weather, so.
All right, Cal, we're in Chicago, and there's always weather in Chicago. Take a look out there. What do you think?
Wet, cold, cloudy, dark. Yeah, not great baseball weather.
Probably going to play anyway, though.
Yeah.
Do you pack extra, or is that up to the equipment people, or what happens when you come in and all of a sudden it's colder, it's wetter, it's not what it's supposed to be?
I actually was very, very unprepared this trip, so usually I'm pretty good, especially when we're going to places, with colder weather, but for whatever reason, I wasn't thinking, I was like, oh, it'll be fine. It's a decent time of year. And I completely forgot, sleeves, jackets, sweats. I just didn't think, I got a little too cocky, I guess, and thought I knew it would be good weather. So that, we talked about overpacking before. I didn't want to overpack. We did. I tried not to overpack, and then the one trip I needed it didn't work out. So.
All right, so we were up in the booth, and Rick Riz looked out, and he's like, "Look at Cal, he's being tough out there. No sleeves. That wasn't it."
It was a little chilly. It wasn't terrible though. I mean, it wasn't the worst, But the wind, obviously, being in Chicago, the wind is what cuts through you a little more so than the actual weather.
Yeah, no, that is a thing here without question. Hey, taking a look at last night's game, really, really enjoying what we are seeing right now from Luis Castillo. And we're definitely seeing, I don't know if it was more fastball last night. Why'd you have to call the slider?
I don't know. I shouldn't have.
No, you shouldn't have. Luis told the story afterwards that you guys talked about, let's go for 50 this time, because his only other start here, he threw 47 straight fastballs, and why not? And so you blinked.
I regret it. I didn't even realize we were doing it. Was at the time until somebody said something. So.
All right. Well, we're going to allow that. But he seems to almost be evolving a little bit. It seems like we're seeing more of the fastball from him attacking different. The fastball looks different. It seems like there's almost a little bit more movement with it right now. What are you seeing with him?
I think over the last two starts, just really seeing him, getting down the mound and trusting his stuff. Sometimes, you see pitchers and, they'll try to hit spots or try to be perfect and try to, finesse type, try to be perfect with their pitches. When in reality, a lot of the guys, you gotta know who you are and your profile. And, as Louis, I see him more as like a power kind of pitcher, and, just relaying to him, hey, don't try to be too fine. Don't try to be too cute. Get down the mound, trust what's coming out of your hand, and trust that it's going to go where you want it to go. Don't try to aim it, or don't try to, try to pinpoint command it. Just trust it. Whatever happens, and really, the last two starts looked really good.
What does his best fastball look like? Like, if you were facing him, what would that look like as a hitter?
Obviously he's got that, kind of 3/4 slot of where he releases the ball. So it's just tough. He's got the two fastballs. One runs and sinks, and the other just kind of stays straight up. And, it looks good, especially as a left-handed hitter. That's the one that looks really good, and it lights your eyes up. And the next thing you know, it's more at your letters and at your eye level rather than right down the middle where you were looking for it, kind of at the belt. So it just has that kind of deception to it, and lights people's eyes up, and then they get a little too greedy and either swing and miss or pop it up.
Yeah, it was fun to see him work that way, and he said aggressive last night, which is exactly what it looked like. And you say that with him. And he also, I don't want to say he's loose out on the hill, but he's a guy that can smile. I mean, how different is his demeanor out there from what you see from other starters?
Yeah, he's a guy that's been around the league for a long time, and somebody who's been there, done that at all-star games, been been that guy for quite a while. So, he knows what he's doing out there, and, he does a good job of not taking the game too serious. Not in the way of, he's not out there, he's not serious about his craft. He's not, but he knows it's a game and he has fun with it and he enjoys it. And a lot of it's about just knowing you and yourself and how you're going to get the best out of, your stuff that night. And, he's the type of guy that goes out and kind of lets it hang and he's loose, and that's when he's pitching at his best. So, each guy is going to be a little different in that sense.
Is that kind of his personality off the field too?
Yeah. I mean, he's really easygoing. He's really easy to talk to, always in a good mood, happy. Somebody you definitely want around your clubhouse, and a guy is always good to have around and can definitely, help simplify and make this game a lot more fun.
4-0 on this road trip right now. What did you see in that series in San Diego? I mean, you told us a week ago you weren't worried. You had a little bit of a rough patch at home, but you guys are beyond thinking too much about a small rough patch. What did you see in San Diego after?
Yeah, I mean, we responded well. I thought I didn't think we played bad against Toronto and New York. Some good teams, and it's going to happen throughout a course of a season. And we were right there in it in a few of those games, and a couple pitches here and there, ball goes different way. Maybe win an extra one. We're not talking about a bad series, or a bad homestand. So, obviously we pitched the ball really well. We threw well in tough situations with runners in scoring position. We were able to, capitalize with runners on base, and we were able to, punch back really quickly. Obviously I think in 2 of the games we went down first, and then maybe in 1, I can't remember, but we were able to punch back really quickly. And, that's what good teams do. They respond and they keep the pressure on the opposing pitchers, and they threw some good ones as well.
I think good team is going to be the answer to most everything right now. And I don't ask any of these questions with surprise. It's like it's where you're at. You guys have the best road record in baseball right now. Is that because you're a good team, or is there something that you see that you guys embrace on the road?
No, I just think it's, I think on the road, it's even more important to do the little things right because, obviously you're at a disadvantage, and you're obviously away from home. You don't get the last at bat, things like that. So it's even more important to put pressure on them and to do the little things right, take the extra base, steal extra bags, punch back when you're down a run or so. So it's just important to keep doing those things and to stay on top of it, really. I think obviously with our offensive approach, I think it plays well, especially in these type of environments when guys are going to get pitched tough and, you're on the road, obviously. So the good approach is paying off right now.
What about your offensive approach with elite pitchers? You guys have also racked up a really nice record against number ones in the league. What do you see there?
Yeah, I mean, with those guys, I think the big thing is you got to take advantage of mistakes when you get them. Obviously, it's not going to happen every time, but when you do get that mistake, you got to have a good approach and be ready for the most part, the fastball for a lot of the times, because those are usually what elite pitchers have is really good fastballs. And, as good as they are human and they do make mistakes. And all it is just capitalizing on them, when they do make those mistakes. So, and not getting too big and trying to do too much with those pitches and just kind of passing the baton and doing those little things.
Is there something in the predictability of a good pitcher, the established, what they're going to throw? It might be some of the nastiest stuff you see, but it is something that you're a little bit more familiar. You can perhaps, study a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, you do your homework, and obviously the more guys have been around the league, the more you know how they're going to attack you. And but that doesn't mean anything's a guarantee because, it's baseball. And as soon as you think you got it figured out or you got some guy, keyhole, then the game will come back and smack you right in the face, right when you least expect it. So you just got to stay humble and just have a good approach and just really trying to keyhole and trying to figure out how you want to, attack this guy.
Lastly, I don't know if we're looking at a rain delay tonight, maybe a rain delay. I think we'll get it in. What do you guys do on the road? And I'm sure it depends where you're at, but if you guys have an extra hour back there, what happens? What does the clubhouse look like?
I mean, yeah, rain-delays are tough just because you're kind of waiting around. But to me, this game's starting at 6:40, and you gotta get ready for it. And if they tell us, there's a delay, then at least I was ready to go, or we were ready to go in that sense, and we weren't, caught off by surprise. So, but yeah, I mean, typical, rain delay stuff. You see lots of cards
Okay.
in the clubhouse. See a lot of guys just kind of hanging out, listen to music. Like I said, cards is usually the big one. So we got a good group of guys here that like to play a lot of cards. So it makes it fun, and I'm sure guys will be cutting up and talking some trash to each other too. So it's always a good time.
Who's the card shark in there?
I don't know. There's a few. There's been a lot more this year than years past. So Rowdy is definitely one of the more interesting guys on the team, especially when it comes to cards. He's always looking for a game. So, and then there's tons of guys that like to get in there. We do it on flights and when we have time. So,
okay, to preview next week, you've said you want to interview somebody. How about Rowdy?
Rowdy?
Yeah. But tentatively Rowdy on the schedule next week when we get back to see?
Tentatively Rowdy. We'll do that. So
right.
It might be an interesting one.
Get to know Rowdy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.